It's the holiday season, and a lot of us, especially stepmoms, are filled with a lot of holiday angst, and that's what we're talking about today. I'm Cameron. I spent years building my career and creating a life I loved. And when my Prince Charming finally showed up, he had 4 kids in tow. Fast forward through lots of mistakes made and lessons learned, step-family life was much more complicated than I realized. If you're looking for help with blended family life, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Stepmom Diaries, where we keep it real as we dish about all the things. This is your weekly dose of blended family inspiration and encouragement. You're not the wicked stepmother, so let me help you find your fairy tale ending. Come on, let's do this. What is your first thought when you think about a holiday season? If you're like me, it's maybe getting in the holiday spirit. I love Christmas music, and if you know me, you know that I love to decorate for Christmas. I decorate the house, we put the tree up, I love to decorate outside. It is my jam. And when Craig and I got married, I brought about 137 boxes of Christmas decorations to our union. Not really that many, but I think it felt like it to him, and much to his chagrin, right? But he has been a really good sport about all of my ornaments and ribbons and wreaths and everything else. And he has gotten in the spirit and helped decorate, and the kids have gotten into it, and he will roll his eyes, but go along with me when I want to buy new ornaments. So I appreciate all of his support in my holiday enthusiasm. But it's the second thought that I'm really talking about, not that first thought about holiday spirit. It's the moment that you think, oh my gosh, I get past all of this holiday music and decorations, and the holidays have all these complications. I don't know what to get the kids. What is custody going to look like? Or, if you know what custody is going to look like and your spouse's ex decides to change things up at the last minute, there can be a lot of uncertainty, and not to mention holiday traditions. What are those going to look like? Have you had smooth sailing in blending up all those holiday traditions? I'm guessing that even if you've had good years doing it, the answer is no, that it has not been smooth sailing every single year. And I'm also guessing that if you're like me, even when things are rocky, you are putting a ton of pressure on yourself. I am guessing that you probably want it to be perfect for your kids, your stepkids, your spouse. I know this because I did too. I put so much pressure on myself, so I totally know how you feel. So let's talk about the holidays. What is that thing that you are most dreading about the holiday season? And what is it that you are putting so much pressure on yourself about? My first holiday season with the kids, I'm not going to say that I was obsessed with making things perfect, but I definitely went a little nuts. Let's just say I had all the monogram Christmas stockings at the ready. I had all the traditions that I knew the kids were going to enjoy. I had the little cracker things for Christmas Eve dinner, that you pull on the 2 sides of it and it pops open with a little toy. I had, all of my family meals and recipes at the ready for Christmas Eve dinner. And I planned out all these activities like going to the ice exhibit, going to the Nutcracker, making Christmas cookies, all the things. And when things didn't go according to plan, as they inevitably don't, I was totally crushed. I was afraid that I had let down my new family. I was worried I had let down Craig. I was worried that the kids wouldn't be happy with their holiday and that would translate into them not being happy about me. What I did not realize is that putting so much pressure on myself, that turns into a pressure cooker that is absolutely going to explode. And it did that very first holiday season. It was Christmas Eve, and I was trying to get all the things cooked for our special dinner. And I had maybe misestimated the amount of time it was going to take to cook one of the desserts. And I love to bake, but this was a recipe I hadn't tried, and I was trying for everything to be perfect. I misestimated the amount of time it was going to cook, and I misestimated an ingredient in one of the desserts. And Craig came in to ask me some innocuous question, and I snapped. I snapped at Craig, I snapped at my mom, and I am pretty sure that it all ended with me crying. All for what? For a dessert that I guarantee my stepkids don't remember right now. Because the thing is, kids don't remember the specifics. We don't always realize that. They're not going to remember every little detail and whether it goes right or wrong. They remember how they felt. They remember that they were loved and celebrated. They remember how they felt at the time. But it was really only after I calmed down and got through the day and got through the holiday that I was able to see that. And this year, I got another big old dose of reality. We were scheduled to get the kids the day after Christmas this year to open presents and, celebrate Christmas with them. And we are in the middle of a giant renovation of our house. And right now it's not livable because all of the bathrooms are torn out and in the process of getting reassembled, as is the kitchen. It's a big mess. and as I think is probably pretty normal with construction projects, it's running behind. And what those delays mean is that we're probably not going to be back in our house until the new year. And what that means is that we probably aren't going to be able to celebrate Christmas with the stepkids until then. Because the house isn't livable, we have been having to stay in a hotel when we're in town. We are very lucky, and I recognize that we are lucky to have a place in Maine that is our second home, and we have been staying there while the renovation has been going on. But this means that we are not going to be able to fully be back in our house until the new year. And when I found that out last week, I lost it. I just totally broke down because the holidays are such a big thing for me, because I love Christmas and I love, wrapping presents and putting them under the tree and, opening stockings with the kids and all the things and cooking and baking. And when I realized that none of that stuff was going to be able to happen this year, or that when it did happen, it was going to look very different than normal, meaning no Christmas tree, meaning not even the day after Christmas, I kind of lost it. And it really took me a little bit to take a step back and to take my own advice. I have told so many stepmoms that, it's not the day that you celebrate that's important. It's the celebration. It's how you make the kids feel. It's how you feel. It's what you're able to do together as a family. And I had to take a step back and take my own advice and say, okay, it is not going to be the end of the world. It does suck. And I think the kids aren't going to be happy about it, right? But we are fortunate. We have so many blessings. We're blessed that we're able to buy presents for the kids. We're blessed that we're able to have this house renovation. And taking a step back and putting that all sort of in perspective really helped me be able to shift my mindset and stop feeling sorry for myself and for our situation, and instead feel a little bit of gratitude and, know that we would be able to get through this and that it was not the end of the world. I mean, there are just so many bigger problems out there, right? It doesn't mean that you can't be upset about what's going on. It doesn't mean that you can't be disappointed, but to be able to put it in perspective and kind of change your mindset a little will make a world of difference. So I want to talk briefly about how you can handle all of this a little differently. And the first thing is really to think about how much pressure you're putting on yourself. I know as women, there's already so much pressure on us. I mean, we really are expected to always put ourselves last. We're expected to take care of everyone before us. And that is something that is ingrained in us, when we're little. It's something that I think probably, if you're anything like me, from a very young age, you were taught that, you need to be thoughtful and put other people first. And that can create a lot of pressure, especially around the holidays. You're expected to work, to take care of your family, to keep house. I mean, we've made a lot of advances as women in the last 100 years, but we're still expected to put all of this other stuff ahead of ourselves. And as stepmoms, there's even more. We are expected to take it when we're ignored or spoken down to. We're expected to, love this new family, even when, we may not be treated the way that we should be treated by our new stepkids or our spouse's ex or whatever it is, right? There are all these expectations. So we need to not add pressure that we're putting on ourselves to that set of expectations, right? We are already expected to handle things. Let's not put so much pressure on ourselves to do it, because that's a recipe for disaster. You will absolutely fall apart at some point over the holidays if you put that much pressure on yourself. So how can you take some of that pressure off? It really can start with the simple act of taking a deep breath. Go in the other room, go be somewhere by yourself for just 5 minutes and just take a deep breath. Inhale. A lot of your phones and, my watch has it, breathing app. Just do some deep breathing. Calm your body down a little bit. And then try to think about why you're putting all this pressure on yourself. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself what happens. So, if you're worried about the worst case scenario, then take it to the next step and say, well, what happens if this scenario comes to pass? Well, what happens if that comes to pass? And kind of continue to take it out to the conclusion. And I think that what you'll find if you can do that is that it's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. So do some deep breathing, get some time alone, practice some gratitude. I've got a great gratitude journal that's on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the show notes. Sit down every day during the holidays and write out a couple of things that you're thankful for. It'll really help you shift your mindset and pull yourself out of that pressure cooker. So the other thing I want to talk about today is control, because part of what we put so much pressure on ourselves about is this idea that we can actually control all these things, right? That we can control how the holidays go. And we end up worrying about a lot of things that simply aren't in our control, right? So what did I talk about at the beginning? We're worried about, how custody is going to go. We're worried about whether the kids are going to like our Christmas gifts, or, whether the traditions are going to go well with them and how they're going to react. Are any of those things that you can control? Absolutely not. They're things that you can influence. You can certainly make your best efforts on, your holiday dinners or gifts for the kids or whatever it is, but you can't control their reactions. So I would encourage you to instead focus on those things that you can control. You can control how much effort you put into the holidays. You can control the boundaries you set around what's going to happen around the holidays. If you have a testy relationship with your spouse's ex, you can set some boundaries around that. That'll make your life a little bit easier for the holidays. So I really encourage you to think about, what are your boundaries going to be? What else can you control? You can control how you act. You can control how you react. And if you can let go of some of those things that you can't control what your partner's ex thinks about you. You can't control what they're going to say about you. There are people that are never going to like you or give you a chance, like maybe your spouse's ex or whoever. You can't worry about that. You can't worry about other people's reactions to you, including your stepkids. It's really hard to let go of that worry. It's really hard to let go of that control. But if you can do that, if you can let go of that worry, let go of those things you can't control, that right there is some real power. That will help you reclaim your calm for the holidays. So take a pause, take a step back, and focus on what this wonderful time of year means to you. Think about what the season means. Take a minute out of a chaotic day to sit under the lights of your Christmas tree, to sit and enjoy some holiday music or whatever you enjoy doing, some hot cocoa. Maybe it is making holiday cookies. Whatever that looks like, sit and take a minute to just breathe. And if stuff is going crazy, maybe try to find the humor in it if you can. I know after I had that massive meltdown, over the Christmas Eve baking, I was able, it wasn't that day. Definitely wasn't that day. But I was able to look back and laugh at myself a little bit for taking things so seriously and for winding up so tight over a silly meal. So if you can find some humor in things, if you can breathe a little bit, then you'll give yourself the chance to enjoy the holiday season. So with that, I wish you a very happy holiday season, a very merry all the things. I hope you can take some time for yourself in these last couple of weeks of the new year. And if you want to give a gift, I would love if you would head over to iTunes and give me a nice review so that we can help reach more stepmoms in the new year. And feel free to share this episode or the podcast with anyone you know who has got a blended family. I have got a really exciting 2023 in store for you, so make sure that you come back week after week, and I will see you in the new year.
That's it for this week. If you've enjoyed our chat, I hope you'll help spread the word. Share this episode with friends and head on over to wherever you listen to podcasts and leave me a review. And don't forget, for more great stepmom content, head on over to thiscustomlife.com and follow me on social media. Just search This Custom Life on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Until next time, you keep being you and know that we are in this together. See you here next week.